On the final day of a preparatory climate summit, leaders from developing nations appealed to wealthier countries to treat the cost of curbing man-made climate change not as a burden, but as a strategic investment in global stability and prosperity. They reportedly emphasized that meaningful climate action requires substantial financial support, especially for vulnerable economies facing the brunt of environmental degradation. The summit was designed to shape the agenda for the upcoming Cop-30 conference in Brazil, where climate finance is expected to dominate discussions, with the previous pledges falling short of the estimated $1.3 trillion needed annually. Developing countries are pressing for more ambitious commitments to ensure a just and effective transition to cleaner energy.
Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is calling the Cop-30 climate conference the COP of truth. He has told world leaders that the next decade must see the Paris Climate Agreement implemented to save the human species from extinction.
As national budgets shrink, we see the richest 1% of the planet emit in a single day more carbon than the poorest 50% of the global population emits in an entire year. It is legitimate to demand a greater contribution from these people.
Money is at the core. Not hundreds of billions of dollars as once estimated, but a whopping $1.3 trillion by 2035 to transition economies from reliance on fossil fuels to green energy. Leaders of the low-lying countries like the Marshall Islands say they can't afford to wait in the face of stronger hurricanes, sea levels rising, and droughts.
The sea rises, the coral dies, and the fish stock leaves our shores for cooler waters. What will happen when the next storm comes to us?
But identifying solutions to contain global warming is far easier than finding the political will to reduce dependence on oil on a global scale. Time is running out, with the UN warning the Earth's average temperature is rising fast, beyond the 2-degree limit set by the Paris Accords. A 60% reduction in emissions by 2035 will be necessary to have a chance at meeting the agreement's goals, says the UN.
We are reskilling and preparing Canadian workers, and we are teeing up the whole economy for the low-carbon transition. Canada comes to COP30 in the spirit of collaboration, to learn from and partner up with countries and institutions around the world to accelerate the global transition.
But the leader of Canada's neighbor, the United States,
During a recent address, former U.S. President Joe Biden reflected